Real people, real opinions, real talk radio. The multi-award-winning Niall Boylan Show.
Classic hits.
The latest debate to grip the internet is the reclining seat on an aircraft. Now, it all started, as I said, with a woman who posted a video on Twitter, and I'm going to get Helena probably to pop it up on her Twitter if she can, if she gets this out. Oh, she can't, all right, okay. Showing her with the seat reclined, and it's a 45-second clip which shows the man in the seat behind her pushing the seat as she's reclining it. And he's doing this about, 2 or 3 dozen times. He keeps punching the seat all the time, and then he has his headphones on, and he's tapping it in time with the music and bopping his head just to annoy her. And this man has his tray table down, but he's not eating. He'd finished eating. He had asked this woman, Wendy Williams is her name, not to put her seat down that he was eating. So she obliged, and she waited till he was finished, and then she put her seat down. She said he was angry that I reclined my seat and punched it about 9 times hard, at which point I began videoing him. He then resigned to his behaviour. Now, she did call the cabin crew. She was heading from New Orleans to Charlotte on American Airlines. She called the cabin crew. They had a quick word with him. She couldn't hear what they said. And then they came back to her and asked her to put her seat back up. She said the flight attendant told her to delete the video and gave her a passenger disturbance notice. In other words, blaming her. And told her that if she didn't put her seat up, that they would stop at the next airport and remove her from the plane. So she had to do it. Now, everybody has got into a whole hoo-ha about this. And we in the office were talking about this morning. And there's some kind of mixed reaction as to what's the etiquette around your seat. Now, of course, if you're going on a cheap flight, generally speaking, you don't have a reclining seat. I mean, if you're going Ryanair, for example, the seats don't recline anyway. So we don't get into that debate. But if you're going on a longer haul flight, generally you will be going with other airlines and you will have a reclining seat. She said, my issue is more, I got assaulted on the plane and the person behind me got rewarded with a free drink. He got a free drink. She didn't. She got a warning. I want to know what you think about this etiquette. Now, in 2018, the US Federal Aviation Administration declined to regulate the size of seats on aeroplanes, despite consumer complaints about comfort and questions about safety. In an interview on US television, Delta Airlines chief executive Ed Baston said he appeared to agree with the unwritten rule of the skies. He said the proper thing to do is if you're going to recline your seat into somebody is you ask, is it okay first? I want to know what you think. Is it okay to recline your seat if the person behind you doesn't want you to or indicates that in some way? Have they got more rights than you? So do you decline the seat? Or recline the seat, not decline, recline. Yes or no? Do you recline your seat if they don't want you to? And it happens all the time. Because some people are just Egypts about the whole thing. The number is 087 188 0008. You can send us a WhatsApp or a text. If you want to send a WhatsApp audio message, press the little microphone on the bottom of the WhatsApp page and you can send us a little message and we'll play it on the air for you. Jude, you're on Classic Hits. Hey, Jude.
Not too bad at all, Niall.
Okay, Jude, I mean, this has caused a huge debate. Now, I know the button is there for a reason, which is to decline the seat or recline the seat.
The function is there. The facility is there to be used. The function is there. I recline the seat. As soon as we take off and the flight attendant says it's okay to lower your seat because you can't lower it when you're...
Yeah, the little light has to go off for you to recline it. Yeah.
I recline it straight away. Don't care. The facility's there. I'm
a bit like you. I'll do that too, actually, yeah.
Yeah, because the person behind me can recline their seat. I'm not stopping anyone else from reclining their seat. If that function's there, I'll do it. I don't care. I was in a row actually last year. Well, not a row, but the person behind me was moaning because I reclined the seat. I kept on ignoring them. They kept on moaning at it.
What, they were giving out to their partner or something?
No, they were actually giving out to me. I still ignored it.
Right.
He was raising his voice. The flight attendant...
And what was he saying? And what was he saying to you?
Don't be so ignorant. What about my comfort? I actually did say, I paid for this. I said, your comfort is of no consequence to me. Your background noise to me. So I said, you're nobody to me.
So you paid for your attitude is, I paid for this seat. There's a button on it. I'll do what I want.
Exactly. Now, he kept on raising his voice. Now, flight attendant came down. I was doing nothing. I actually had my headphones on. I was actually watching. I was actually watching a film. But the flight attendant told him if he didn't lower his voice because he was affecting other people's comfort, and they would get security and he would be arrested when they landed.
Right, okay.
And then he soon shut up.
Yeah, see now, so she dealt with that the way it probably should be dealt with.
Yeah, because
but in
that's
this case in America, the opposite way round. This
But
woman got a
they were
warning.
making that up. There's no aviation law to say you can't recline your seat, because if there was a law, why did they provide that service and facility? People sort of say, pardon the pun, but they wing it. Why should I ask permission for someone I don't even know, just because they're sitting behind me, that I can't be comfortable and I can't recline?
Well, some people say
And
that's
I
just
wouldn't-
good manners, I suppose. But mind you, you don't have to listen to their request. You could say, by the way, I'm just going to recline my seat. And if they say, well, actually, no, I prefer if you didn't, you go, well, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I would. I even told your man, I said, your comfort is of no consequence to me or nobody to me. I even said, who are you?
Right, okay.
So, but I would
I wouldn't
always
mess with you,
recline your
Jude,
seat,
no.
Always.
Right, well, okay, well, hang on for a second. Let me go to Anthony. Anthony, you're on Classic Hits. How you doing, Anthony?
Hi, Niall, how are things?
Good. You'd ask the person.
Yes, I would. And Jude should remember that man isn't responsible for his comfort either, so he could say the exact same thing to him.
But the function was still there, though. I could do. I wasn't stopping him from doing it. The function from the seat I was sitting in could be reclined. The function and the facility was there, so I'm entitled to avail of it. No matter who's on the plane.
Okay, but so Anthony, what happens if you do the right etiquette and you turn around and you say, excuse me, I'm just going to recline my seat, I'm feeling a bit tired. And the person behind you says, well, I'd rather you didn't actually, because that would make me quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
So you'd remain uncomfortable for the rest of the flight. If it could be a 9-hour flight, you'd remain uncomfortable because the guy behind you doesn't want to recline his seat.
Now, within reason, there's people that take the mickey, like, you have to admit that. You can get that on buses or coaches. The thing that used to drive me mad, I used to do long-haul journeys on coaches, and you get on a coach and there might be one seat left, and you'd have, invariably, it'd be younger people, and they'd have the seat, and the seat next to them were full of their bags. In other words, don't sit next to me, like,
Yeah.
this seat is for my bags, you know?
Yeah, but you
And
can't
then
do that on
might-
an airplane unless you pay for the seat.
You can't do that in an airplane, obviously not.
Unless you
No.
pay
No,
for
but
the
I
seat.
mean, it's just another example of just bad manners, bad etiquette, selfishness, and no consideration for other people.
If the facility is there, why can't someone use it?
I mean, it's like saying, for example, if I put my table down and, I'm eating on the table and the guy in front of me turns around to me and says, listen, could you stop putting your table up and down because I'm trying to rest? Now, there's nothing I can do about that. You know what I mean? But because the facility of the table is there, so I'm entitled to use it.
Yeah, you're entitled to use
So,
it. But I mean-
and the facility of the button to recline the seat is there, so why can't I be entitled to use it?
But I think some people go too far. I mean, we're talking about within reason now. Some people do take the mick, like, you
There's
have
no
to
going
admit
too
that.
far. You either recline it or not
I don't
recline it.
understand
How is
the
it going
getting
too
too far.
Either do it or don't do it. Now, if I do it, I don't give a damn about it because I'm not stopping anyone else from doing it. Why shouldn't I do it? There's no law stating that I can't
Yeah,
do it.
and
There's
if
no
he
aviation
complains,
law.
and if the person behind you complains, why should he give a damn about your comfort? So it works both ways.
Well, and what would happen, for example, Jude, if the person, for example, behind you, was a larger person, and obviously they would have less room and less comfort.
I still wouldn't care. I
So
would
you wouldn't care,
pay
right.
for two seats. Just because they're larger, does that mean because they're larger, I shouldn't avail of that facility compared to, say, a thin person sitting behind me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jude, we know we wouldn't expect anything different from you because you only live in Planet Jude. The only person that exists in the world is you, like.
Oh, and
So-
is there a Planet Jude? You tell me, because you're such the astronomical expert. Tell me where this Planet Jude is, because it doesn't exist.
I don't know. I'd love to live there because
You're the one who brought
you
up
only
Planet
think
Jude,
about
it doesn't
yourself.
exist.
You only think about
So you're
yourself. no
saying
matter-
he's selfish.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
matter what the
I'll
topic
be
is.
honest with you, Anthony. On this particular occasion,
I'm not
and
selfish.
reading this story, I kind of agree with Jude. I mean, you're paying top dollar for a seat on the plane. It's not like you're getting it
Facility is
cheap.
there.
You know, I mean, you could be heading off to, say, America or Los Angeles and paying £700 or £800 for that seat. And and the whole purpose of that is to have some level of comfort, that you have this button and a nice, comfortable seat, not a plastic one like you get in a short haul flight.
Unless you go business class.
Yeah, well, you can go
Well,
business
you
class.
make it.
You can lie down if you go business class. So, but I mean,
Exactly.
you press this button and you lean back and you can try and have a little bit of a snooze. It's still not the most comfortable thing in the world to do. And then the guy behind you goes, "Can you put your seat back up so you're sitting there like Frankenstein for the whole flight?" And you have a laugh, Anthony.
You owe them a living. Who are they? You never even meet them again. Who are they? Why should you have to give a damn? As I said I told your man you're only background noise to me, Paz. Only background noise to me.
Background
Your
noise.
companies have no consequence.
You, Anthony, your background noise.
Oh, sure, everyone's background noise to Jude. Like, we know that. We wouldn't expect any different.
I just said that to your man. You're assuming. Why does it mean everyone is background noise to me?
Okay, well, hold on both of you there for a second, because I want to come to Kieran as well after the break. And you can keep texting or keep WhatsApping. The number's 087 188 0008. Well, the debate is on. 70% of people, according to a poll in the United States, said you should be able to recline your seat without getting permission from the person behind you. And this is all because of this viral video. It's gone mental, this story. This woman got a warning just for reclining her seat.
Niall, the seat is there to be reclined, but you have to have respect for the person behind you. I think you should ask, and if that person says no, I think you should just respect the decision, because that's just the way it is with me. Thanks, pal.
Somebody says here, Niall, reclining seats on planes, what's the problem? You recline it when you like. If the person behind you doesn't like it, he or she can recline their own seat, and then the distance between the two seats is back to the same as it was before. Or you can tell them to get off the plane if they don't like it, says Paul McDonough. Step off the plane, Paul, yeah. Hi, Niall, just came back from Lanzarote. The person in front of me asked me, could he recline his seat? And I said, that's okay. I said, Pat, what would happen if he said it wasn't okay? And he still did it. Should the airline not charge the second passenger with intent to damage the company property? Yeah, he was punching the seat. He was trying to annoy the woman, obviously. And Inga says, no, you wouldn't drive for 8 hours, so why lie down in a plane? Why should the person behind you have your head in their lap? Well, now, Inga, it's not that bad. Now, unless you're in first class, of course, and you're lying right down. Yeah, we wouldn't be. I mean, it only reclines about 3 bloody inches anyway. What's the big deal? But people believe it's a big deal. Jude said he doesn't care about the person behind. Anthony, you're on Classic Hits. How you doing, Anthony? Anthony, you there? Oh, no, it's not Anthony. Sorry, Kieran. I do apologise. Kieran. That's yourself. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'll come back to Anthony in a second. Sorry, Kieran. It happened to you, but not on an aeroplane, in a different situation.
No, yeah. We were in the cinema there on Saturday. We went to see the new Jumanji film.
Right. Any good, by the way? I heard it was crap. Are you there? Have I lost you, Kieran? Oh, we're going to have to come back to Kieran in a second. I think we've lost him there. Are you there, Kieran? Move your head, jangle around, jump up and down. I don't know. Fix your phone. Right. We'll come back to it in a second. Let me go to Lisa. Lisa, you're on Classic Hits. I mean, Lisa, would you put back your seat without actually asking permission of the person behind you? Okay, Lisa, you're not there, okay? Okay. Oh, Lisa, can you hear me?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, okay, well, jeepers, we're having an awful problem with the phone lines today. Sorry, Lisa. I don't know what's going on. People's phones are just breaking up and falling down and all sorts of things. Lisa, would you put back your seat?
I don't, because I just don't, because I'm very short and I just don't need I don't need the room.
Well, yeah, but it makes you a bit more relaxed. If you're on a long flight, it means you're instead of sitting up straight trying to fall asleep, you're kind of lying back a little bit. You know what I mean?
I just bring me little, the little donuts.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
I hate them. I hate them things.
Oh, no, you put them front ways, not back ways.
Oh, right. Because I was always trying to put it behind me, and then you're like 2 or 3 inches leaning forward.
No. You put them to the front and you just put your head slightly on it.
I have a little inflatable one.
You're wearing it the wrong way, you mad spill. Yeah.
Right, so Lisa, go on. Anyway, you asked a woman not to recline her seat, did you?
Yeah, so myself and my sister would go to New York every year, every November, December. Yeah. So it's always a packed flight.
Yeah, it's a 5-6 hour flight, yeah?
Yeah, and then I was in the boot. The very, very last seat.
Right, so there's a wall behind you.
There's a wall, yeah.
Oh, I get that. Okay.
So it was a very last minute flight. Normally we'd have our numbers well picked, but it was like a couple of weeks. We'll go, the sort of way. So it was no choice. And there was 2 American couple in front of us. So they, even though it reclines back, if they're a bit bigger and heavier, they actually kind of goes back more. Kind of bounces more.
Right, okay. Okay.
So, I don't sleep on planes, and that it was a very late flight. And you're at your hotel at 11 o'clock, and you're hanging around.
Yeah.
So, and I understand. Yes, they recline, and I'm used to that. But I just asked, and she just lost the plot on me.
What did she say to you?
She just went ballistic. She's like, "Where this? They're flying, man!" And just, oh my God! And our husband joined in. He was about 6.5 foot wide and tall. And I just said,
"Ma'am, we paid for our seats, ma'am, and we'll recline them, ma'am, if we like to."
And I was like, "You can do it." And I went, "Really? Well, I'm going into a wall then." Harry Potter. Like this, I can't go back.
Right.
The end of the seat, the last seat doesn't recline, and but she just didn't even give me a chance. She just went
Launched into you. Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And my sister was just dying beside me because I'd be the yappy one, the mouthy one. She was just like, doesn't
Your
matter.
sister was mortal, was she? Scarlet for you.
I was like, you can't hide, you can't.
Or as somebody said to me yesterday, she wasn't only scarlet for you, she was scarlet for your ma for having you.
Yeah. She has that every day, and you gotta love her. So the air hostess came down. She came down and she was like, "What's the problem?" And I just said, "Could you ask her not to recline? I just can't. I can't go anywhere, and it's really." And they were very heavy, so they were moving around a lot. So it was bouncing.
Right. So you can literally see the top of her head. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
And he was, there were two tall American couples.
Two large people, right? Yeah, we get that. Yeah, we get that. Large people.
So
yeah.
it was just so. She just so in the end she just said to me, "Well, we're going to move you." So she moved me and my sister.
Right. Okay, to a different seat.
Yeah. And I was like,
well, okay, but that was a good ending to the story. At least she made some effort. Okay, well, let me go back to selfish Jude. Jude, are you still there?
I'm not selfish, Niall.
Okay,
Selfish.
Now, hold on. So Lisa's sitting behind you. Now, remembering Lisa, you're in the second last seat on the plane. Lisa's at the last seat, which you'll be familiar with, which has a wall behind it, and the seat is right up against the wall. Really bad design, by the way. I don't know why.
Yeah, near the cargo hold.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't know why they couldn't move the wall an extra 2 or 3 inches.
Care.
You wouldn't care. You wouldn't care.
It's not my fault that she can't recline. I'm not stopping anyone else from reclining. If the facility's there, I'll use it.
But you wouldn't have a level of... I mean, Lisa sounds like a nice, reasonable girl. She was just saying, I'd rather you didn't because I can't recline mine.
Yeah, but I'd rather I did and I wouldn't give a damn. Do something about it.
Oh, God. Lisa, you're lucky it wasn't Jude in front of you.
I hope I never meet him in the airport. I'm only 4'11" when I'll kick him in the shin. So, yeah, man.
But then if you're that short, you wouldn't mind if anyone reclined their seat then if you're that small.
That's what I'm saying. I normally don't mind. But having that last row, I couldn't even go back. You can't go back a little bit.
Yeah,
I know you're at the cargo hold. I know that.
Yeah, you're at. It's actually the door. Is it the door of the jacks, isn't it?
But one thing I will agree with, it's that girl Lisa. One thing I agree with, and it's not. It's I know when there's people in the big bag of arses, and especially if you're sitting beside a fat bag of arses.
But you change your tone there. Yeah, I know. We mentioned large people. Yes, okay, go on.
Okay, people who are defying gravity with their bags.
We get it. Jude, we know what you're talking about. You don't have to go into details.
But to sit beside them. But if you're in front of them, I wouldn't care.
Right.
Right.
So Lisa, the big debate is, Lisa, I suppose across the United States, certainly at the moment this viral video is, do you have to ask permission?
Well, I would. I would just think that's a nice thing to do, and then to turn around and say, "Would you mind?" And
well, why don't you ask permission from someone you don't even know? Someone that has
just being
nobody.
Nice.
But see, Lisa, I'm not completely. I don't agree with Jude's attitude, mind you, right? But I do agree with Jude saying I love a snooze on a plane, particularly if it's a long haul flight and I'm heading off to Florida or something like that. So it's a 9-hour flight. You don't want to be
have your snooze.
Yeah, you don't want to be knackered when you get there. And if I wanted to have a snooze, and I'm good at sleeping on planes, by the way. Some people can't do it. I can do it, okay, and I can sleep for a good while, right? But I might kind of acknowledge the person behind me, but I generally don't actually. To be honest with you, I just put the seat back.
And you're right.
And I'll have me snooze. Now, if somebody said to me, "Listen, don't put your seat back," I don't want you to. I'd say, "I'm sorry. I paid 700 quid for this seat. There's a button on the side of it that lets me recline it. I'm reclining it."
Exactly. Do something about it.
Am I a bad person, Lisa?
Oh, I just think it's nice to be nice, and if someone actually turned around and said, "Really, I really would prefer you not to do that," you kind of go, "Okay." It's like having a screaming child. I go to Florida for 16 years. I brought the kids with her, and I'd actually be mortified, going, "I'm really, really sorry that they're crying," and everyone like, "Don't be worried." And then they got playing when the kids were older.
That's what children do. Children should cry. That's what they do.
Yeah, children should cause a disturbance. That's what children
that's what they do. If a child is crying, it's no one's fault. It's not even a child's fault. A child on a plane crying. That's what they do.
Yeah, it is a bit of a nuisance, but yeah, we all deal with it because most of us have had children, so we've all been there. Because children, unfortunately, on planes, children get very frustrated. It's like a cabin fever they get. But stay there for a second, Lisa and Jude.
Hi, Niall. I can remember a couple of years back, I actually went to Turkey on a trip, and it was a long flight. And there was a girl in front of me, sitting in front of me. Now, I'm about 17 stone, a big lad. So I remember the girl in front of me, she weighed about 4 stone. And she put her seat back, and she had about 5 feet in front of her. She had a big open space. Now, I was sitting in my seat, I had about a foot. I couldn't even put my table down. So I said, I'm going to recline my chair. So I reclined my chair, and the girl behind me kept pushing me. So I think she should have bought 2 seats, she was that big. But I had to sit up straight for the whole flight. I had no choice because I couldn't recline my chair because the girl behind me was moaning and giving out to me. So I had to sit on the flight uncomfortable. So, it's a bad situation to be in, but you just have to do what you have to do, You
have to do what you have to do. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, how you, Niall? As a rule of thumb, I'd basically, if the person behind me had their seat reclined, I'd recline mine. But if they didn't, just out of respect, I wouldn't recline my seat. I just think that's just the way it is. But at the end of the day, you're only getting 1 to 2 inches reclining anyway, so it makes not much of a difference. Anyway, thanks again.
It does make a bit of a difference. It's the difference between being able to go asleep and not being able to go asleep sometimes, for God's sake.
Good afternoon, Niall. I just wanted to make a quick point, I suppose. I agree with Jude that was on there. If the facility's there, it's built into the price of my ticket.
Oh, we lost him there. So I'll come back to that one in a second. I'll play it again in a second. Let me go to David. David, you're on Classic Hits. How you doing, David?
Good afternoon, Niall. How are you?
All right, David. David, okay, you're a little bit angry with Jude's attitude, I think, are you?
Well, listen, the answer to your question is yes, of course. The facility is there, you've paid for it, and you're quite entitled to tilt your seat or lie your seat back as much as you like. But common decency, which is the consensus of all your callers there, is you turn around and you say to the person, look, I'm just going to lie my chair back. Now, I'm 6'2", so if the person turned around to me and said, look, I'm going to lie my chair back, I'd say, well, can you hang on a second? I'm going to switch places with my daughter or my son. They're much smaller. And I won't be all cramped up then with you.
Because you've got your knees up high, I suppose. Yeah, because you've longer legs. Yeah, okay.
But I'm telling you now, if some fella turned around to me and started saying, you're just background noise and I'll do what I want.
That's what Jude would say to you.
I would kick 7 bells of shit out of that chair.
On an airplane and get arrested. You'd get arrested.
And I'll get arrested, yeah. What about it? I mean, why?
Well, then I'd finish my holiday, but you start your holiday, you're arrested in your holiday. Good luck with that one. You're a real brave man. What a hero.
So, Jude, the point he's making is, okay, Jude, he's saying if at least he gave him a bit of warning, he could switch seats with his daughter because...
Whether I gave him warning or not, he could switch seats regardless. Whether I put my seat back or not, he could switch seats anyway. I wouldn't have to ask anyone permission, especially all the likes of him. I don't know him. Don't even know him.
But he reminds me of the person, the old grumpy man sitting on the bus, and the woman would be standing there, and he wouldn't give up his seat because he just hasn't got a shred of decency in his body.
Would you give?
I'm not legally obliged to. Not legally obliged to.
Jude,
I never asked you whether you're legally obliged. It's a common decent thing that I know.
Yeah, but I don't have to share your common decency. I don't have to share your common decency.
Jude, would you give up your seat for an elderly person on a bus?
No.
There's the answer. There's the answer to that question. See, Jude,
if we're able enough, if we're physically able enough to get the bus, I would, but I very rarely travel on the buses. But I wouldn't. I paid for the seat unless it was. I wouldn't sit in a disabled seat, or I wouldn't sit in a seat that you have to give up. But any other seat, I wouldn't. So I paid for the seat.
But Jude, but hang on, Jude. I agree with the sentiment, and I agree that yes, you've paid for the seat, and if the airlines don't want you to recline seats, they shouldn't put a button on it. But I also do, to some extent, even though I'm a bit mean about it sometimes, I do agree with David is saying. When you've got somebody large or somebody tall who would have less space behind you, you kind of acknowledge it at least. Or if the person said, listen, you wouldn't do me a favour and hold off for a second.
Why acknowledge it?
What?
Why?
Well, I suppose it's just common decency, is it?
Yeah, but now everyone shares the same common decency or the same, say, moral perspective in life than everyone else. I just value other people.
I mean, I don't know, David, if you've seen the video that's online. I mean, this guy is not a big guy, and like yourself, and this woman just put her seat back. She did hold off when he asked her not to do it while he was eating. It was food he brought on the plane himself, by the way. And then he had stopped eating, so she put her seat back, and he starts punching the seat. Now,
listen, I don't have an issue with any of that, and the button is there. It's your man's attitude. I mean, my God, what a moron.
Right. Okay. Let me go to Sharon as well. Sharon, you're on Classic Hits.
But Niall, what my attitude is not. The facility is still there no matter what attitude you have.
Well, no, I agree with you, yeah, but your attitude does come across a bit of a gobshite. Okay, Sharon, sorry, go ahead, Sharon, you're on Classic Hits, go ahead.
Hi, Niall, how are you?
Oh, you got into a row about this, did you, before?
Absolutely. We were on a return flight. We'd done Hong Kong to Dubai. We had a stopover of 2 hours, and Dubai to Dublin, which is an overnight flight.
Right.
So obviously, you get on, you get your food, that's absolutely fine. I'm travelling with my husband and 3 children, so there's 3 of us in one part, and then 2 on the aisle across.
Right.
I had myself at the window, my daughter beside me, and then the little fella on the other side of us. So he was fine. He was playing video games. My daughter had her dinner, as we all do. We kept our seats up, as you should do, when dinner's been had.
Yeah.
And after recline it back. So he's got 5 hours of a flight to settle in for. Before we know it, the lights are coming on for breakfast. So my daughter was fast asleep. Bearing in mind she's only 9 years of age now. The seat in front of her was reclined. The person behind her was actually a child of even a smaller age than she was. And next thing we know, I'm starting to feel her seat being banged and banged and banged. And then this Chinese couple, very little English until they wanted to call me a bitch, let's just say. And I work out the word a bitch, and pushing the seat. So I said, excuse me, we need space. We have food. So I said, you've got plenty of space. You have a child. She's asleep. So anyway, my seat wasn't. If they wanted to move over one seat, my seat was up, so it wasn't going to cause a problem. It didn't genuinely cause a problem.
They were just being difficult. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Totally difficult. Wanted me to wake up the child. So anyway, the banging continued. So I said, no more of this. So I'm buzzing on the bell down the flight attendant. I said, excuse me. I said, this is getting a little bit too much now.
Did you tell the flight attendant you called you bitch?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it didn't sound exactly like our Irish version of bitch.
Right, okay.
You know, when you're being called a bitch, probably a lot worse in Chinese too. So called the flight attendant down. Didn't really want to get involved and just said, well, the child is sleeping. That's all they said to them. They continue to bang the seat and bang it and bang it and bang it. So I'm taking no more at this stage. So now I'm up on my feet saying, don't you touch that seat one more time. She is asleep. And of course, I get so loud that she actually wakes up and asks if there's a problem. She's willing to pull up her seat. I'm shouting at her, keep your seat down now.
And a point of principle at this stage, yes, yeah.
It is principle at this stage now. We had about 6 flight attendants. Then your man is shouting at me. It was woman to woman initially, 2 mothers that time.
Right.
Then the man.
I'm envisaging now a scrap on the floor now at this stage. But go on.
I'm ready now at this stage. I've done about sleep after my 3 kids. My husband then stands up over the other side. And he's saying, don't you speak to my wife that way? And I'm shouting at him, I can well handle this.
And the 2 behind were just calling you a bitch all the time. Yeah, but go on.
Oh my God, absolutely. But honestly, by the end of the 6 flight attendants, so I said to him, okay. So I said, what is your procedure for this? So they actually couldn't answer. I said, there's no problem. I said, if you ask the person in front of me to pull their seat up in front of my child, there's no issue if everybody has to. But why has my child been woken up for a child behind that already has plenty of leg room? We're not talking about a big person.
It's a little child,
It was just being awkward. No, we can't go around waking people. I said, well, then you better get the speck out of my face and stop waking up my child.
You tell him, Sharon.
Seriously, but I mean, they just did not want to get involved. It could have been easily.
Okay, so I have 10 seconds. How did it end?
Oh, well, me basically eyeballing the whole way through Dublin Airport. I'd say they were absolutely shit.
Did you put a complaint in? Was it Aer Lingus?
No, it was with Emirates, believe it or not.
Did you?
I complained to the guy on the way out the door, and I said,
you should write a nice letter, a stinking letter of complaint.
Oh, it didn't make a blind bit of difference. They just said, we're sorry for your inconveniences, was the response on that. It wasn't inconvenient.
There should, yes. I think, to be honest with you, and I'm sorry I'm really short of time, and Sharon, that's a wonderful story. I was hoping to hear that the 2 of you would be in a ball on the ground boxing the heads off each other by the end of the story, but you didn't. And I'm sorry for your bad experience, and I'm glad you got it sorted out in the end. It's really horrible. But there should, after the story in the United States, there should absolutely be, the airlines now should all make a statement in relation to reclining seats.
Real people, real opinions, real talk radio. The multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.
Classic Hits.